So there's a lot of protests going on in Peru right now, and the state has responded with disproportionate amounts of violence. It's really uncomfortable to look at, so I really don't recommend you like watching videos of it. It's really crazy what's going on down there. There's lots of reports of live rounds being used. It's not pretty, and people are pissed. So let's step back for a minute. Why are people so upset? So Pedro Castillo, who's now the former Peruvian president, was the Peruvian president, was a farmer who essentially, and a teacher, and essentially came from nothing. He was an organizer, and people rallied around him as someone who could break the status quo. And so there was a genuine grassroots movement behind him. He was a real leftist candidate. He was elected into Peru's highest office. Now, it wasn't like a blowout victory, but it doesn't matter. He still won. And, you know, OAS and all the organizations that typically throw suspicion at left-wing victories didn't say anything. And so it seemed like everything was going to go great. And then out of nowhere, these corruption charges came, and the evidence wasn't particularly, they weren't really offering a ton of evidence. And then all of a sudden, the military was involved in dragging Steve. And so because movement and poised to be a status quo breaker, people got really upset. Now, interesting is as a nod to kind of the established powers that be, Pedro Castillo took a vice president who kind of was more establishmenty, and I'm forgetting what her name is. I had it written down. I can't think of it right now. And so she is now president, right? And so what's really interesting is it looks like that there's kind of been this bloodless coup because, you know, Pedro Castillo was VP, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, president is out and the VP is in. Now, there's a little bit more to it, right? There was, when he was elected, for anything. Now, there's a thing that you should know about the Peruvian Constitution. The Peruvian Constitution allows a president to be impeached for, what's the exact word? Irreparable moral failings or something like that. And so it's like really loosey-goosey, and like people were trying to impeach him from day one, over and over and over again, and it was never really coming to a head. And eventually, Pedro Castillo just said, "No, I'm done with this," and dissolved the parliament right before an impeachment election that actually looked like it was going to work. So, did he do something that is illegal? Yes, he did. I'm not denying that, but he reacted in a bad way, right? So let's get that off the table. I don't think he should have dissolved parliament in the face of a impeachment election, right? He should have advocated to the people and tried to get the politicians to change their mind, and on it goes. But this was kind of the world that he was operating in. And so, you know, there has been now this huge outcry from the public to put Pedro Castillo back in office and to allow him to govern, because he had a mandate, even though the mandate wasn't, you know, particularly huge. And the crackdown, as the crackdown has gotten worse, you have, you know, lots of area players starting to say, hey, like maybe we should kind of like have new elections because this is looking kind of shady and people are getting killed and protesters are trying to take over airports and things. I mean, even the United States came out and said, hey, Peru, like chill out on the killing protesters and stuff. So it's really ugly. And unfortunately, you know, I'm not sure that there's a situation now to put Pedro Castillo back in power. You know, there are some steps that I could see happening. I just don't know how that would get executed, right? First, they'd have to drop the charges. Then they'd have to have new elections, because I don't think you could retroactively put him back. Yes. The current lady, again, whose name I forget, I apologize, takes him as a VP, and then she resigned. Right? Again, I don't think it's going to happen, right? There's kind of an established order in Peru, and that's, it seems that it's fighting back. So ultimately, you know, I'm really disappointed in this. There was a lot of lefties, including myself, who were hoping that have a real grassroots American that was able to kind of test establishment pressures and was able to get things done and really help out, right? Because we've seen that real leftist policies can work. So Lula da Silva in Brazil, he raised a huge percent. I think it was like 50% of Brazilians out of poverty in just the short time that he had power, right? So there's an ability for these leaders to really transform these countries, but they have to be allowed to govern. They have to be allowed to implement these policies. And there was a lot of hope that this would happen in Peru, and unfortunately, almost all of that hope has been dashed now. So, it'll be. I would say keep watching this story, right? See how the players continue to react. I think, ultimately there's going to be some compromise somehow. I don't think Pedro Castillo will ever be president again in Peru without kind of a new grassroots movement. But there was really hope for a real change in Peru, and unfortunately, that's been dashed, and that's very unfortunate.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, throw a like on it, share with your friends, and subscribe for more of our content. You can also find all of our videos and clips on youtube.com. Just search Let Them Eat Bread and you'll find all of our content. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye for now.